workers are paying the price through cuts in their hours. Here in Colorado, Kroger has cut hours in its own stores by over 18% since 2019. We went from the pandemic where the company made more money than they've ever made before, and yet we've seen since 2019 they continue to make record profits, but they are reducing staff in these stores. So the company has also been unlawfully interrogating workers and direct dealing with them, trying to force workers into ending their support for the union and for this contract negotiations. They've also been intimidating workers who sit on the bargaining team. This violates the law and puts unnecessary pressure on union workers who are simply trying to support their families. The company needs to negotiate with our member-led bargaining committee and return to the bargaining table rather than bullying union workers. The company has been making unlawful threats and seeking to get union workers to quit the union and cross the picket line. The company has also given company-provided pre-printed forms, envelopes, and postage to workers to resign their membership and cross the picket line because of their threats. This illegal practice is disrespectful to all union workers who are standing strong in the picket lines, demanding that the company cease the illegal practices and listen to the workers' concerns about safety and staffing. King Soopers is insisting on wage increases for current workers. By including this proposal in their last, best, and final offer, the company's entire offer is illegal. Kroger just gave their already rich shareholders $7.5 billion in stock buybacks right now, and it should need to refund fund wage increases by taking those from those that are on fixed income, by taking $8 million out of the retirees fund. There is more, but I'll stop there. The point is that this is all illegal, their behavior, and it needs to stop. We cannot negotiate with them when they keep behaving like this. We tried to negotiate for over 3 months, and last week, over 96 to 100% of their own associates voted to strike. They've said enough is enough, and they authorized the strike that started at 5 a.m. this morning. And instead of focusing on real issues of staffing, wages, healthcare, safety, and more, the company is more interested in running its tired, union-busting playbook of illegal actions. And instead of that, they forced workers to a point that they had no other option but to strike. And then they are paying to bus in workers from out of state to try to bust our local Colorado grocery store union. This is not right, and workers are not going to put up with it. I'd like to also say that, King Soopers, I'll tell you what best somebody described to me, that the workers feel like Kroger values their employees like they value their equipment, that they apply the same policy. Just work it, use it until it breaks. And workers are broken, and that's why they're on the picket line today. I'd like to pass the microphone to one of our bargaining team members, Raina Carpenter. Raina is a great leader in her store in Pueblo, and I will announce right now that the Pueblo stores will be joining the strike tomorrow, so we will be pulling those 2 stores in Southern Colorado. Come on up, Raina.
Thank you, President Cordova. My name is Raina Carpenter. I am a proud, hardworking union member. I work in Pueblo King Soopers Store 12 as a seafood manager, and I also serve on the union negotiating committee. As a member of the bargaining committee, I have seen the disrespect and illegal tactics firsthand. Today there are 77 stores out on strike. My store, as well as the other store in Pueblo, will be joining them tomorrow. I guess some of us had hoped that in the last week maybe the employer would come see the light and change their illegal behaviors, particularly after the overwhelming vote to strike. I am confident these strikes will get the company's attention, and the day-to-day and only way to handle bullies is to stand up to them, and our workers are doing that. As a union grocery store worker, overwhelmingly approved the strike vote as 96%. And we, 10,000 of us, are on strike today to back that vote. We're standing up to them. My coworkers and I, workers from all over Colorado, have been working ourselves to the bone, doing the jobs of 2 or 3 people. Our customers, and better to serve our customers in our community. And we stand in solidarity to demand that King Soopers stop their unfair labor practices and bargain with us in good faith. We have all seen the stores with unstocked shelves, long lines in the checkout, prices too high, not the same as the prices that are advertised, because there's just not enough staffing to update tags, to stock shelves, to run the store. And this is how, every day in and out. This is how they make their profits. I understand that's how business works, but it shouldn't be at the expense of the health and safety of workers or taking advantage of our customers. Within days of getting their proposal merger blocked, Kroger announced a $7.5 billion stock buyback to enrich wealthy shareholders. While many of my co-workers can't afford to buy the very food they stock on the shelves. This money should have been invested into the stores and used to lower prices, raise wages, increase the number of store staffing to better serve our community. The unfair labor practices charges we have filed and that we are on strike today are real examples of our employees' disrespect for us as union workers. I am personally offended when they spy on me and my colleagues, when they try to intimidate us, when they fail to provide information to us as a bargaining committee that we have requested to allow us to present a full staffing proposal so we can actually get these real problems addressed. The ball is in the employer's court right now. We have been demanding that they change their illegal behaviors. Instead, the legality only expands. I want to thank our customers across Colorado and thank them for standing up with us during our strike as we continue to move forward. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is David Seligman. I'm an attorney and the executive director of Towards Justice, a legal organization that fights for working people across Colorado. Towards Justice stood with Local 7, under Local 7's leadership, in fighting back against the illegal merger between Kroger and Albertsons, which was stalled, right? Which protected working people across Colorado, prevented wages from going down and prices from going up. After that, we also filed a lawsuit, a proposed class action against King Soopers Kroger for an alleged illegal no-poach agreement that the company allegedly used during the prior strike in order to break the union and break its bargaining power, right? And to defeat them through illegal conduct as opposed to engaging with them at the bargaining table. We're going to be there next to these workers, fighting to make sure that Kroger follows the law during these negotiations. I want to highlight that I think what's happening now isn't just about these courageous workers. It's also about something that we're seeing across the country. We're seeing existential threats to our democracy. The richest dude on the planet has seemed to seize control of our country. One of the most powerful tools, one of the most important things that we have. I think this is important for not just for these striking workers, right, but for King Soopers customers across Colorado to understand. One of the most important tools that we have is regular people, working people, standing together. That's one of the most important tools that we have to protect our democracy. It's absolutely essential, right, that we all stand together in order to engage in this really, support these workers engaged in this really courageous and important fight. And I also want to highlight something that we expect and that we're going to see, because it's part of the standard playbook from massive corporations. Right? The standard playbook is to turn consumers and workers against each other, right? And I'm sure that we're going to see the same thing happen here. We need to be crystal clear, right? That consumers and workers must stand together. We we've heard about how Kroger, after their merger fell apart, Kroger put forward a $7.5 billion stock buyback program. $7.5 billion, right? Money that could have gone into hiring more workers, money that could have gone into making better and safer working conditions, money that could have gone into reducing prices, right? We also know that, even though there's lots of hand-wringing about inflation and broader forces that, Kroger purportedly couldn't do anything about, we know, as President Cordova has said, from testimony in the merger case, that much of the rising prices were driven by Kroger's price gouging. Right? This is not a question of consumers and workers being pitted against each other. That's not what this is about, right? This is about wealthy and powerful corporations like Kroger, right, standing in the way of working people and essential workers getting the very basic thing that they deserve and that they need, right? Just decent working conditions and fair wages. Thank you.
Woo!
Hello, my name is Zeke Saveman. I'm a longtime leader with Coloradans for the Common Good, a broad-based organization with approximately 30 dues-paying member institutions from the faith, union, and nonprofit sector of Colorado. We are proud to have UFCW Local 7 at the University Hills King Soopers around 5 p.m. You'll be in lengthy lines to check out because of woeful understaffing. What is management trying to do when customers are trying to get home to feed their families and are standing in line wasting precious time? Community organizations such as Coloradans for the Common Good stand with striking workers all across America. That solidarity is what generated a record number of public comments at the Federal Trade Commission, which I spoke at. Almost everyone who testified voiced opposition of the failed grocery mega merger. It is our solidarity that will hold Colorado businesses like King Soopers accountable to keep their workers safe and to give them strong jobs with benefits, jobs worth keeping. Coloradans for the Common Good stand together in support of workers today. As a community member, I challenge every customer not to cross the picket lines, including not doing curbside pickup, Instacart, or any shopping at King Soopers. You support UFCW Local 7 by shopping at Safeway stores like this one. Join the fight for what is right. Ensure that King Super hears loud and clear that Colorado will not tolerate price gouging and unfair labor practices. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon. My name is Dennis Doherty. I'm the Executive Director of the Colorado AFL-CIO. We represent 185 unions across the state and have over 130,000 members. And I am here today to state that the entire labor movement stands in solidarity with UFCW Local 7 and their members who were out on strike. Give it up for that. Woo! King Soopers, right, like any other corporation, wants to divide labor. They want to divide the workers. And what we've seen in this country over the past 3 and 4 years is the power of the strike. How courageous the workers are out there to take that step, right, and what they're sacrificing for a greater tomorrow, for the greater good. And they join striking workers across this country who have shown that when the labor movement strikes, we win. When the labor movement strikes, we win. And once again, the King Soopers workers out here, UFCW Local 7 members, are going to stand strong, and they're going to win. The rest of the labor movement will be right behind them, on the picket lines with them, and solidarity is what we are going to have, and solidarity will prevail. Thank you very much. I'm going to turn it back over to you.
And I'm good to answer any questions from anyone in the press. So if anyone has any questions for me regarding this strike, what we're fighting for, what's going on with workers, the company, happy to answer.
Kim, have you had any communication with Joe? We spoke with him this morning, and it seems like I've asked you before, very contentious.
The tone that we have with the company is based on the tone that they have with their own associates. And so Joe Kelly, the division president, hasn't shown up at the bargaining table once. And in fact, in 2022, he was just here maybe 2 months before the first strike. And, he showed up for 9 minutes at the bargaining table. In 2022, he hasn't here. He's so out of tender stuff. Like I said, they're broken. They feel like a piece of equipment. So no, I haven't. Yeah, he's very arrogant and he hasn't reached out, no.
To piggyback off of that, Joe has sent a statement, I think, to all local media saying that your claims lack merit and that they haven't been properly investigated by the Labor Commission or the Labor Board to even allow to, I guess, respond to the illegal claims that you're making. So I'm curious your response to that.
Yeah, so that's not true. So one of the claims is what David Seldman talked about, and that goes back to the 2022 strike, and it's also it's part of the Attorney General Weiser's lawsuit regarding the merger, when they were, what we understand, were colluding with the Albertsons during our last strike. It's absolutely a lawful behavior for them to insist on moving retiree money. We can't strike over that issue, and in return, they cannot insist on it in an unlawful, in a last best and final offer. So, I mean, absolutely, this is through the NLRB. I mean, we are here on a lawful, unfair labor practice strike, and he needs to resolve that, his behavior, the companies.
Kim, Joe claims that he reached out last night and no one gave him a call back. He also says 20% of people crossed the picket line, 20% of the workers. Your response to that?
Well, that one, I haven't heard from Joe Kelly, number one, so that's not true. And two, in terms of he's saying 20% of crossing the line, that's not true either. The folks that are working in these stores are the ones that they hired from a staffing agency who, by the way, has their own legal trouble for not paying those folks. So they hired him from down, what we understand, down in the southern part of the state. And unfortunately, instead of taking that money, investing that money back into lower grocery prices, back in a contract that rewards the workers for their hard work, they're choosing to take this fight to a different level. So yeah, absolutely not true.
Tim, you mentioned earlier that the Pueblo workers are going to join the strike at some point soon. Is there expectation that the Northern Colorado workers will do the same in a week or so once that contract expires?
Yeah, we may do that as well. I mean, we have authorization also to take out Colorado Springs, but we are moving south, and we are going to take out the 2 stores in Pueblo. Yes.
What would it take for the union to go back to the table?
Well, one, we need the company to engage in good and fair bargaining, and they need to resolve the unfair labor practices. I mean, they have to provide information that we need around sales. And I mean, our fight over understaffing is real. Every customer sees that. They're waiting in long lines. They're seeing empty shelves, and there's not a supply chain issue here. It's all the product is in the back room. There's just nobody there. The other thing is that we've been talking to the company about price integrity. And so they don't have enough staff in the stores to properly change the price tags or prices in the system. So many customers experience that after they go through the register, the price that they're paying is higher than what's advertised. And that's a big issue when people around the country are already upset about the high cost of grocery. And we actually showed evidence to the company, and they didn't even flinch. They haven't denied it. And in fact, I think most people here should look at their receipts before they get to their car, because there's a good chance that it doesn't match what's advertised. And so King Soopers has some big problems. I mean, when you have 96 to 100% of the workers vote to strike, there's real issues. And here we are, the second time in back-to-back bargaining cycles, here we are with another unfair labor practice dispute against King Soopers.
You mentioned earlier about temporary workers. I was speaking to some organizers this morning that King Soopers is supposedly hiring bringing people up to Texas. Is that true? Can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, from what we understand, they're using a firm that they use for union busting, or their staffing agency called Strauss Engineering Company, and they've been training in the non-union stores up north. We seen them this morning, and I pulled the store at Chatfield and Wadsworth this morning. I seen them coming in vans. And so they're paying for hotel, vans, per diem. They're offering them more money than what they're offering these workers here in our own community. Yes. That's our understanding. I mean, they're using that staffing agency, and we know that some of those temp workers from that agency have talked to our members that actually work in the stores, like up in Boulder, where they're training. And so we saw them this morning. If you go early in the morning, they don't have cars, and they're coming in big white vans, and they're not from Colorado.
Kim, what's the timeline for pulling those Colorado Springs?
5 a.m. tomorrow. Yes. In Pueblo. Yes.
Joe also said that picking this specific weekend to go on strike was strategic by UFCW. Super Bowl on Sunday, Valentine's Day next Friday. You have a response to that?
Absolutely, because the only thing they understand is their profit. They don't respect their associates, they're not respecting their customer, but the one thing they pay attention to is their profit. And we know that Super Bowl and Valentine's Day are very important to them. And the timing is really based on the fact that they refuse to bargain. But we are well aware of what those holidays mean to this company. It's all about money.
Kim, has a federal negotiator been sent in from the NLRB yet?
Has a what?
Someone like a negotiator or mediator rather from the NLRB been sent in yet? There's a lot of turmoil up there, and I'm curious how that's impacting this.
So one be from the National Labor Relations Board. You could use a federal mediator here. But we don't see any use for a federal mediator. They have no power. There's no on-the-record discussion. We just don't see any value. It creates a problem. We think King Soopers is to sit down and face their workers face-to-face and not hide behind a mediator.
Kim, why did you decide to do a 2-week strike? And if you guys don't get what you want by the end of 2 weeks, what you guys do?
So it's an unfair labor practice strike. It's not an economic strike. So we can also extend it. So we called for a 2-week. Again, we know how valuable the timing of this strike is, but we also have a number of units across the state that have not expired yet. And so we just have to vote them, and then we can extend the strike. We can go back to the table, and if the company continues to engage in unlawful behavior, we could go out again. And I mean, really, the choice is up to King Soopers. They should be so ashamed of themselves that their workers are having to stand up for better customer service, for a safer workplace, and for lower grocery prices. That's the risk, and they're going to lose lifetime customers to Safeway and other competitors here in the state.
King Soopers also said that you guys you didn't put an offer on the table. Is that true?
Not true. We have 84 proposals on the table, and they've agreed to 0. Well, at the same time, we're negotiating with their competitor. We represent the Safeway Albertsons workers in the state, and we have pages of tentative agreements with that employer. King Soopers has agreed to 0, and their offer is unlawful. It's unlawful, and it's concessionary when they're making more money than they've ever made before. And this all comes from the pandemic all the way to now. They were willing to pay $24 billion to buy their competitor, and they've had to spend over $1 billion in legal fees, and now they're being sued by their competitor. And who do you think's paying for that? The consumer and the worker.
Will there be strike votes at, city market stores?
So we are looking at all of that. We'll see if the company comes back to the table and stops their illegal behavior. But our contracts on the Western Slope have expired now. And so they are expired. We still have a number of contracts that have not expired and won't expire until the 15th of February.
I know the vote was 95% to authorize the strike, but can you share what the turnout of the vote was?
Standing room only. It was huge. Our members are very engaged in their own contract. Standing room only. Yeah, it was huge. I mean, the members spoke loud and clear. And I mean, these lines show it. I mean, there's a lot of workers. Some of the stores, we only represent one side of the store, like up north, where we may have just the meat side or meat departments in the stores. But most of the stores in the Denver metro area, Adams County, Douglas, Arapahoe, Jeffco, those are wall-to-wall stores. And they voted. I mean, look, the members spoke, and they spoke loud and clear.
And the main sticking points for you guys, is it the staffing shortage?
So staffing was the number one issue. We're a member-led union.